food technologist. How could you describe that?
A food technologist can be any number of different things.
I am a senior research scientist.
Consumer safety officer.
All of them are fun that I've encountered so far.
A food technologist is involved in basically every food item that you would see, eat, or think about eating.
A lot of misconceptions about food scientists are that we work in the lab. We're lab rats, we always wear the white coats.
I get paid to eat. How better can that be?
I'm a food nerd.
When you think of food, you think of something that's simple and appears magically on the supermarket shelves. As a matter of fact, there's quite a bit of magic, although it's scientifically based magic.
When I tell people I'm a food scientist, they really don't even know what that means.
We're keeping your food supply safe.
A lot of times it's solving a puzzle, whether it's in the area of product development or in the area of analysis.
I wanted to work for an organization where I could actually see the products of my labor out on the grocery store shelf. In my day-to-day job at Campbell's, I'm responsible for actually creating soups that the consumers would like, that appeals to the consumers.
Part of my job is coming up with new products, new ideas, innovative ideas. Everybody wants the next new thing. Jell-O pudding in a cup, that's mine.
Once you get into food science, it's something that grabs you.
They pay you to play with food?
It's constantly a learning experience, and I enjoy it. And that's the beauty about the food industry, is that you can take it anywhere you want to, from the farm all the way to the grocery store.
So the coolest part is you get to eat your science experiments.
There's many options out there for food scientists. You do not end up being in a laboratory by yourself. I am an independent consultant. I go mainly to developing countries, and I help their industry become more competitive. You get to meet all kinds of people. It's a great job.
Food scientists are innovators in the food world. We work with Hershey, we work with Nestle, we work with all the companies that make everything delicious.
You take a fresh soybean, and I have to make that look and taste like a hot dog. Oh, how the heck do you do that? Well, that's what I'll do.
The food industry is always a growing field.
No pun intended.
My day is different every day. I like to be creative. It keeps me thinking.
What is my favorite food?
Pizza.
Ice cream.
Anything with cheese on it.
Pizza.
When you see that product on the shelf and then hear people talk about your product, that's awesome.
There's so many opportunities that you never get bored.
We are the only science that has fun every day.
You'll be amazed at how cool the work actually is. And to top it off, you get paid to do it.
The best part about my job is that I can work on things scientifically, but be creative doing it.
Pretty much, that's about it. In a nutshell.
When I graduated from high school, I didn't know food science even existed.
When I first entered college, I thought I was going to be an engineer. Then I learned more about the food industry and thought, this is so much more interesting.
Started in computers and decided after a semester or so that I really didn't want to do that.
I wanted to be a pilot.
I knew I liked science, and I was in biology, but I didn't know where I was going.
Everybody needs people who know science, so I figured, hey.
When I first got to college, my freshman year, I took an introductory class to food science. Every minute of the class was interesting.
I wanted to continue my involvement in agriculture, so I saw this career as food science as an opportunity to do that.
When I got into food science, I was just in awe of everything that there was going into all of this food that we eat.
The education process of getting a food science degree involves your normal chemistry and microbiology.
Mostly people start with some type of science background.
Food chemistry.
Nutrition and engineering, but it also can involve some more fun classes, like a muscle foods class, which is like all about meat science, like a sensory class.
There's so many areas in between that you're guaranteed to find something that you would be interested in.
Whatever you really like about the food industry, there's a place for you.
If you want to be a food scientist,
Approach individuals who work in industry. We are very supportive of intern programs, and just get a feel for what the industry is all about.
Shadowing someone on the job, I think it was very critical and a great experience.
I found that finding a mentor or having somebody that that you looked up to. I find that very important.
I'll have students call me just to learn more about my job. I'm more than willing to talk about my job because I love it.
There are a ton of opportunities to do a lot of different things in this industry.
Young people today, they can bring a lot of life to the food industry because they come with a fresh perspective.
Tons of scholarships, and that was one of the reasons why I went into food science. I knew I wanted to do something fun.
I think you'll be fascinated by all the things that you can do in food science.
Food science is very rewarding, and if you choose to go into it, if you make the conscious choice to go in at an early stage, you can end up having a very rewarding career in the industry.
The jobs find you in food science. There's not a lack of jobs at all. Everyone loves to eat.
I never knew then that I'd be where I am today.
I always had the food scientist in me, I just didn't know it.
Food science is an amazing profession. We're scientists. Chemistry, biochemistry, nutrition. I'm from the University of Wisconsin-Madison.
Michigan State University.
Washington State University.
Cornell University.
I just graduated at the University of Idaho, and I'm going to graduate school at Purdue.
I just never thought of science as a career.
Really broad range of things that you learn.
When I was a high schooler, there was a lot of pressure to appear cool, but math and science are cool.
Each year, the Institute of Food Technologists Student Association has a competition where all the different schools submit a proposal for a product.
Our product is a granola bowl. We have a yogurt filling on the inside, frozen blueberries and strawberries on top. We originally thought it would be a fruit pizza. Does this look like a fruit pizza? We had to know everything about this product, how it's made, the temperatures, the time, the things that can go wrong in processing, why consumers will like it, who will buy it.
Our product is breakfast frappes, and it is a on-the-go breakfast item. The crust is a caramel-flavored crepe, and the filling is a chunky applesauce and cream cheese.
Our product is bocados. Bocados translates from the Spanish as small bite or small bites. This is one bocado. It's a frozen snack. It's a guava filling and a cheese sauce inside a masa corn dough shell. So it captures some of the Hispanic flavors that are really becoming popular these days.
We came up with Load and Reload. It's a before and after energy beverage for your workout. So the load portion contains caffeine and kind of gets you pepped up for your workout. And then the reload portion has protein for recovery after your workout. I think that the reason that food science is so cool is because there's so much opportunity for creativity. It's not just the product that goes into this package, but the package itself, the design of the label. People think of science as monotonous, but it's really not. And designing your own experiments is just so exciting. To see something that you've created that could actually go to a grocery store and people buy it, it's an indescribable feeling.
There are a ton of opportunities to do a lot of different things. You can do the research and you can develop new products. The 4 years that I was a student, I got to participate in 3 internships in the food industry with 3 different companies.
I would like to think that food scientists aren't as nerdy as other scientists.
I'm really happy to be in food science because I know that when I go out there, I'm going to make a difference. I'm going to be making a difference in everyday people's lives.
While everyone appreciates a hot and hearty meal, we often take our food for granted. Without fear of contamination, we can enjoy our dinner, partly because we know that thanks to food science and government regulations, that food is safe, clean, and healthful. But it wasn't always that way. 100 years ago, most of this food didn't exist. And without the technology to preserve food, most of it would have spoiled before it even got to the store shelf. Given the variety of foods and packages we have now, can you imagine that in the early 1800s, it took about 14 years to develop the basic method used in canning? Nicolas Appert invented canning back in 1809, still about 100 years before Louis Pasteur figured out that heat killed bacteria, the process known as pasteurization. Technology has done a lot in providing us with the food supply we have today. And food scientists around the world make it happen. As society and technology change, so do the regulations that govern the food supply in the United States. At the turn of the 20th century, the industrial age was in full swing. and the mass production of food was a growing enterprise. But many factories that processed and packaged foods were often filthy and unsanitary. In 1906, the writer Upton Sinclair published The Jungle, a novel about the American meatpacking industry. Sinclair's novel follows the story of a young immigrant working at a meatpacking plant in squalid conditions. It is based on Sinclair's own experiences when he spent 7 weeks investigating Chicago's meatpacking plants. While his main target was the industry's appalling labor conditions, people were most outraged by the filth and contamination in American food that his novel exposed. Although the U.S. Department of Agriculture had been established in 1862, on its publication, The Jungle caused such an enormous uproar that Congress passed legislation that included the Meat Inspection Act and the Food and Drugs Act of 1906. And the United States Department of Agriculture inspectors were put in every meat plant in the country, where they remain today. Many historians and scientists consider this legislation the beginning of laws that ensure the safety of our present food supply. This also led to the establishment of what we now know as the Food and Drug Administration. The FDA, along with USDA and several other government agencies, is responsible for protecting the public health by assuring the safety of the nation's human and animal food supply and a range of human and veterinary drugs. Over the decades, the growing demands for food hygiene, safety, and innovation have presented food scientists with new and exciting challenges. When television became common in American households in the 1950s, food scientists helped develop the technology for the famous TV dinner. TV dinners were developed after the food processing company, C.A. Swanson & Sons, encountered a storage problem following Thanksgiving one year. With too much turkey and not enough storage space, the company packed the meat in small portions and transported it in refrigerated trains across the United States. They packaged the food in compartmentalized aluminum trays, just like airline meals. The dinners were marketed to tie in with the nation's latest craze, television. Families could eat their segmented trays of turkey, potato, and buttered peas in front of their television sets. The company had a huge hit, and they sold millions of TV dinners to families who found them very convenient. Other technological advances have brought different challenges to food science. Astronauts eat food aboard the space shuttle that food scientists, dietitians, and engineers help research and develop. They work out the best way to process, preserve, and package different types of food while keeping it as nutritious, varied, and tasty as possible. And how do you handle crumbs in zero gravity? The relationship between food and health has always been strong, so food fortification has become big business. Take a look at your breakfast table. The orange juice, cereal, and milk most likely contain a wide variety of added vitamins and minerals intended to increase their nutritional value. Many foods are fortified or enriched with vitamins and minerals that replace nutrients lost or degraded during production. While we have an abundant food supply in the U.S., other parts of the world have fewer food choices, which can limit their intake of important nutrients and create serious health consequences. For example, vitamin A deficiency often leads to blindness in children. Advances in plant biotechnology have helped rice and other staple foods to contain sufficient amounts of vitamin A to prevent debilitating conditions. And food scientists are the brains behind it all. This discipline uses engineering, biological, and physical sciences to study the nature of food, the causes of its deterioration, the principles of food processing, and the improvement of foods for public consumption. Food technology involves the application of food science to the selection, preservation, processing, packaging, distribution, and use of safe, nutritious, and wholesome food. It can take a lot of effort to get food to your table. These oranges are picked in Florida, shipped to a processing plant, pressed, packaged, and shipped to the stores as orange juice. The whole process takes more than just creativity or a healthy appetite. It takes science.